What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor at FightfulMMA.com. It is a beautiful Saturday evening, not Sunday morning at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. You all already know I'm over the moon about that. If you guys are visiting us for the first time, this is FightfulMMA.com. You're probably watching live on our YouTube channel, but we're on podcast platforms everywhere. Tons of wrestling content, lots of boxing content, lots of MMA content. If you didn't join our live coverage, you missed out on like 1,000 comments probably. I'll go over and check, but we have a great community over there, the Talking MMA community that also does pick'ems ahead of these shows. But if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up, subscribe. All that stuff really helps. It's 1,100 comments. Damn. UFC Nashville. It was lit, as the kids say at FightfulMMA.com. We will be here on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern for a more in-depth breakdown with Showdown Joe, James Lynch, and myself. But man, it is, I'm not going to say this was a barn burner of a show, but there was some important stuff that happened. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you didn't know, you do now. Number 14, Jordan Espinoza defeated number 12, Eric Shelton. Why did I say that? Because I had no idea these two guys were ranked. And I do a UFC rankings video every week. That's the state of this flyweight division. Absolutely miserable. Jordan Espinoza got the unanimous decision win. Chris Gutierrez defeated Ryan McDonald. Man, Ryan McDonald's story is sad. We had an interview with him on the website. Go check it out. He did not pick up the win. Randa Marcos. This is where it gets interesting. Number 15, Randa Marcos defeated Angela Hill via armbar. Now, man, Randa Marcos has had a good armbar for a very long time. I believe all of her submission wins in in pro MMA are via armbar. I think she had like a scarf hold on Tough when she beat Felice Herrig. But she really rolled the dice, quite frankly, and was in a pretty wild, precarious position if she didn't land that armbar, but she did. Now you got Randa Marcos, who is, I call her the most consistent, inconsistent fighter ever. It's amazing. 11 fights in the UFC, has never had back-to-back wins or losses, and she had a draw her last time out. She's alternated pro wins and losses in every fight since 2013. If she can get any kind of momentum going, that would be big for her. All four of Marcos's pro wins are by armbar, but yeah, as Joseph Boza says, she's 5-5-1 in the UFC. But here's where the swing happens. Usually, if Randa Marcos can pick up a win next time out, that goes a long way. The difference between a win and a loss in this fight, if she lost to Angela Hill, she would have went winless in her last 3 fights. However, if she gets a win, right now, she's got 1 loss in her last 4 fights, I think. Yeah, 1 loss in her last 4 fights. So the perception in which that brings, you can really spin that in a different direction. Going from, oh man, I haven't won any of my last 3 fights, to saying, well, I've only lost once in my last 4. That draw has a much different connotation to it when you pull off a victory like that. Angela Hill, I don't know what it is about her in the UFC. You know, she beat Yoder and Moroz, but she is now, I think, 3-7 or 3-6 in the UFC. And she lost in the first round to Carla Esparza on Tough as well. Like, she got tapped out. That wasn't a 2-round decision. I think they'll keep her around, but she really needs a win, or else I think she's probably headed back to Invicta. And that's, you know, she could do a lot worse than that. She fought 4 times in Invicta in 2016 and got back in the mix. So that could happen. Jennifer Maia defeated number 5, Alexis Davis. I'm very interested to learn what you guys think of this, because this was a very controversial decision. I think that what Jennifer Maia did in the early going, I mean, she really pieced Davis up in that first round. Those were some brutal combinations. And I swear by MMAdecisions.com. I love that website. Fan scoring is 50-50 on MMA decisions, and that's not easy to do. That's not easy. There was one media member who gave it a draw. I didn't score it myself, but if I did, I'm probably scoring it a draw under the new scoring. Man, it's that first round, that combo was a drubbing, man. And that one stood out to me. It really did. And when you get hit 10, 11, 12 times with that type of combo, that stands out to me. But I had Davis winning round 2 easily, and round 3 was a close one. Round 3 was a tight one, man. But still, I feel like 65, 70% of media had Maia. I'm not mad at her getting that win, especially with the way that she came out in the first round. She was aggressive. Like Alexis overwhelmed her in that second round and had the stats, the way it reads in totality is that Alexis Davis wins. This is one, if they ran it back, I'd be okay with that. I mean, you don't have to immediately, but it was a fine fight, especially the first round. And one that I wouldn't hate if they did it again. Now, when you look at an Alexis Davis, you're like, man, does she want to hang around in this division based on the level of success in which she has reached or lack thereof at flyweight? Because when I look at Alexis Davis, I'm like, all right, you won your first time out against Liz Carmouche. That's real neat. Beating Liz Carmouche is a big deal, but that was a very close fight. And quite frankly, the website that I just cited, fans had that one 51-46, at least in percentages, in favor of Carmouche. Media had it for Davis. So a very close win there. But other than that, she's dropped 2 decisions. She got to UFC title shot at bantamweight. I mean, I think she was 5-2 as a UFC bantamweight. And quite frankly, between 2010 and 2014, she was downright awesome as a bantamweight. She had that hiccup against Sarah Kaufman, the majority decision loss. But until Rousey, there weren't a lot of people mopping the floor with her. Like Shayna Baszler beat her and Elena Maxwell beat her, but that was by decision. I would like to see her maybe give it another go at bantamweight if she doesn't end up getting this win back. Marlon Vera, he saw the signs. Oh boy. And he closed Frankie's eyes on this day. A jab just dropped Frankie's signs, and he was just holding on for dear life. That was something, man. Joseph Boza says she only got a title shot because Ronda Rousey was winning for the division. I don't think Alexis was ready for Ronda. Now, okay, that's weird to me. What? At that point, Alexis Davis had beaten Tanya Evinger, Julie Kedzie, Amanda Nunes, rematch with Baszler, Rosie Sexton, who was a pioneer, Liz Carmouche, who got the first shot, and Jessica Ai. Who else? She went the distance with Sarah Kaufman. She was a good fighter. I think she beat Evinger twice. She was rocking an 8 out of 9. Like, she earned that. She was winning fights of the nights and submission of the nights. And in Invicta, she earned that title shot. You could say that anybody got a title shot because somebody else beat somebody. I mean, So Marlon Vera got the win over Frankie Saenz. Good win for Marlon Vera. And, man, you don't see a lot of jabs dropping people like that. That's fantastic. And Marlon Vera had his back against the wall, like, I think less than a year ago. I think it was August when he was fighting Waluigi, as I call him. And he was facing his 3rd loss in a row, and if he lost that, he's probably out of the UFC. Now he's won 3 straight fights, and that's not an easy division either. But he's had an amazing stretch from last summer until this spring, and I think he should maybe get a top 20 guy. Probably would throw him against Bryce Mitchell defeated Bobby Moffett. Now, Bryce got out of a really tight darce, and I know that he said that he almost tapped to it, but the fight isn't what to talk about. Bryce Mitchell cut a hell of a promo. He said, they told me I was going to have to leave Arkansas to make anything out of myself, and I'm going to bring up Arkansas every chance I get. Mama, call up mom, tell her I'm okay, and tell her to come hungry when she picks me up because I'm taking her to get a steak. By the way, Reebok, I want some camo shorts. This ruled. This was awesome. Bryce Mitchell was great. Fantastic. Star written all over him. Undefeated 24. A pleasant dude. Man. Maycee Barber defeated J.J. Aldrich. J.J. Aldrich had this fight. And I think if she got the opportunity, she probably beats Maycee Barber probably 5-6 times out of 10. Maycee Barber's chin was straight up in the air, and she's the thing is, a lot of people are saying she's full of herself. I don't think she's full of herself. I think she's saying what she knows she needs to say. She's a prodigy in that line of thinking of, okay, I'm finishing people. Not a lot of people in my weight division or gender are doing that with regularity. And I'm going to talk it up. Now, I couldn't believe that she was a minus 425 against Seifers. Even I couldn't believe she was a minus 500 against Jamie Colleen. Every single fight she goes into as just a massive favorite. She was a giant favorite against J.J. Aldrich, who, ain't bad. She's not great, but not bad. Had won 3 straight fights, beat Polyana Viana, had a little bit of time off, but J.J. Aldrich is okay, man. She got started in the UFC a little bit early, but so did Maycee Barber. But Maycee Barber knows what she needs to say. And she's doing that, but she did not look great before this finish. She swarmed Aldrich and put her away, but she did not look great. Some fundamental issues were in play here. Didn't like that performance, to be honest with you. I like the heart that she showed in round 2, though. Luis Pena missed weight big time, beat Steven Peterson. Woof. Make weight, and then I'll care. I don't care about this fight. I don't care about Pena at 6'3", showing up and missing weight. I don't want to see it. It doesn't matter to me. This win does nothing for me. Nothing for me. Make the weight. Lame. Didn't even come close. 148.5. Nah, I'm set. Violent Bob Ross, move on up. You lost a split decision your first fight or your last fight, and then you jobbed a guy out because you missed weight. Not cool. Just here for Formiga. At what point do you give this man a title shot? Forever. When the division needed contenders, he couldn't piece together enough wins to get a title fight. All of a sudden, you've got an exciting prospect in Davison Figueiredo. You've got Joseph Benavidez still there. You have people that the UFC is like, yeah, sure, let's get him ready for Cejudo. Even though there's a mess at 135, Cejudo's talking about fighting a guy who's probably going to fight a 155 for the rest of his career, and Conor McGregor. I don't know what the hell Cejudo's doing. He fought to keep the flyweight division alive. Now he's talking a bunch of shit elsewhere. What's going on? Here's the thing. Formiga looked great. Jobbed out Figueiredo. What's Cejudo going to do? Is Cejudo going to defend that title? If so, throw Benavidez in there. That's a good co-main event or a UFC Fight Night main event right there. I'd do it. If you're going process of elimination with these flyweights and if they lose, they're out, whatever, do it. And keep giving title shots along the way. I'm okay with that. Basically, last man standing moves up to bantamweight, defends that title. Otherwise, tell Cejudo to hit the bricks. Like, defend your title or go on. The division's on live support anyway. Don't hold it up any more than it needs to be. Formiga, I feel like, is right in the mix. If it's not Formiga or Benavidez getting a title shot, it's one of those two guys. It's them fighting each other. And the fact that Formiga is ranked higher than Benavidez. Man, I know it's been 5+ years, but Benavidez beat him, and Benavidez won 8 of 9, 11 of 13. I don't know. We'll see how that ends up. John McDessie defeated Jesus Pinedo. This fight sucked. My God, this fight blew. Both men were on. Both men were. They were short notice fights or short notice opponents. They were not short notice fights. They were both scheduled to fight. Both of their opponents fell out. You get the natural matchup there. Neato. John McDessie wins. I had Pinedo I got 5 on it. You can't win them all. I've been pretty spot on with those. Let's talk about Curtis Blaydes absolutely jobbing out Justin Willis. Now, Willis, you always think the puncher's chance at heavyweight, but we spelled this one out for you guys. Myself, James, and Joe did on Tuesday. This wasn't going to be pretty. If Blaydes could withstand a Willis punch, Willis landed 1 in the first 2 rounds, and Blaydes treated this guy like... Go watch Coco Beware facing the Patriot in the 80s. That's what Curtis Blaydes did to Justin Willis. He mollywopped this poor man to such a degree. It was abuse. It was abuse, man. I could just look at it and point at Justin Willis and say, abused. That's it, man. Justin Willis had nothing. Justin Willis had talked all this trash, all this shit leading up to this fight. What happened? Jobbed out. I think people underestimate Curtis Blaydes' wrestling, man. It's a guy, barring brain injury or some catastrophe, he's going to be around a long time. The man just turned 28. He's probably going to be around for another decade. Probably got a UFC title run in him. Definitely has a future UFC title fight in him. And Justin Willis, I respect it. The man had stepped in and won 4 straight fights in the UFC. Hey, anybody who fights for Inoki, I'll give him the old thumbs up. He had a couple of IGF fights. Neato, gang. But you weren't finishing these guys. You weren't finishing Chase Sherman. You beat Mark Hunt, and that was impressive. But you didn't finish the man. You didn't finish James Mulheron. What are you gonna do to Curtis Blaydes? He is a machine. I know he stepped into a Francis Ngannou punch to the face, and that will probably haunt Curtis forever because he ain't never getting that fight back. He'll be real lucky because that's 2 fights he's lost to him. But other than that, man, we've seen what Blaydes can do to people. We've seen him just maul everybody. And Curtis Blaydes wants Dos Santos, who he's never fought before. Wants Miocic. Love that fight. Get Miocic active. I don't want to sit around and watch Miocic just benched. Homeboy, you're not getting any younger. You're 36. Fight. You have not fought since July of last year. You have no wins in the last 13 months. Stipe, take a fight. Fight Curtis Blaydes. ESPN main event. Real good stuff there. And man, Curtis Blaydes was livid after this. He was letting Justin Willis know what he thought of him and what he thought of all that shit that he was talking before that fight. We got 30-25 here on this scorecard, and I'm not opposed to it. I like it. Be more liberal with those 10-8 rounds. But Curtis Blaydes is a guy to worry about. And you look at the face of this division, or the landscape of this division, rather. And there's Blaydes, and above him is a Junior Dos Santos, who he called out, an Ngannou, who he ain't getting, and a Miocic, who he called out. He also called out Derek Lewis, who ain't coming back anytime soon. Derek Lewis isn't fighting until the end of the year. He just had ACL surgery. Apparently, he's had a torn ACL for years. That's confusing to me. We'll talk more about that later on. But Derek Lewis, or we'll talk more about that on Tuesday, rather. Sorry, somebody asked what was wrong with the stream. Stream's fine, homeboy. Hit the bricks. You banned. Stream is good. But yeah, it's probably Dos Santos or Miocic because Cormier wants the date with Lesnar. That's it. He wants to fight Lesnar. And he should want to fight Lesnar. It's a matter of getting Lesnar there because I'll bet you anything, not me reporting, just in case any crappy websites are watching this on the wrestling end thinking I'm going to drop some scoops. I'm not saying Brock Lesnar's going to wrestle at the Saudi Arabia show, but damn, I'd be shocked if he didn't. No morals and a big payday. We're waiting until at least May before Brock Lesnar's booked for a UFC fight. So throw Blaydes in there with Miocic. Throw Dos Santos in there with Ngannou. I'm ready for it, man. Hose me down. How about Anthony Pettis? Number 8 lightweight defeating number 3 Stephen Thompson via KO. The first time Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has ever been finished in an MMA fight. I'm going to show you guys highlights of this. Hopefully it doesn't get pulled down. But this was phenomenal. This was something very special. This hook, this Superman hook. As I pull this up, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson gets knocked out by Showtime Pettis. Take a look at this. Thompson had been keeping his range pretty well. Backed up Pettis effectively and repeatedly up against the cage. And Pettis said, "No, bounce off, hit you with that Superman hook, you dead." Followed up with a couple of nasty shots on the ground. And the thing about Pettis, it's what we talked about. There is that element of the unknown. That's why he was one of my I got 5 on it. I can't believe that a former UFC champion would ever have that kind of line. Thompson was bound to give us a boring fight. He wanted to keep it range forever. He wanted to play the smart fight. I did not think that the way that Pettis was setting up Thompson was the way to win the fight, but he kept going rear leg, back leg, especially to the back leg. And that's something that I believe that Bazooka Joe Valtellini had pointed out as a way to beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is go after the back leg. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. And Thompson, or Pettis rather, implemented that rather well. I don't think that set this up. I just think it was a nice, unexpected counter. Rooster punch, as they call it at, I believe, Duke Rufus's gym. That Duke Rufus striking, man, it ain't no joke. And here's an interesting stat. 2016, Pettis had a featherweight win. 2017, he had a lightweight win. Last year, he had a catchweight win because Chiesa blew weight. And this year, he has a welterweight win. So he hit the 3 weight divisions, 3 official weight divisions, and a catchweight in the middle. Now, Pettis was saying, "Oh, I might go back to 155 right after he was saying that weight cut was killing me." No, homeboy. No. Your car caught on fire. You've had enough stuff happen to you in life. Don't cut the weight anymore. It's irresponsible weight cutting. You didn't look great the first 2 rounds, but by God, you caught the man. You put yourself in the top 10 in a division, probably put yourself in the top 10. In a division that ain't easy to crack that top 10, man. But you stepped in, you knocked out the number 3 guy. Don't know why they kept saying he was the number 4 guy. Don't know why, but they did. But I mean, he's possibly, if he hits the top 10, he'd be leapfrogging Leon Edwards, Zaleski dos Santos, Vicente Luque. Those are some good names there that he'd be leapfrogging. Now, not household names by any stretch of the imagination, but world of opportunities for Showtime Pettis. And he's talking about Rafael dos Anjos. You have an opportunity to call somebody out and you say run it back with some guy that beat me at 155. Nobody wants to see that. You got Robbie Lawler there. You got Santiago Ponzinibbio there. Darren Till probably ain't there for long. And I know he doesn't. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't call out Lawler because His boy Ben Askren doesn't want Lawler anymore, apparently. You got Masvidal there. You want... Give me that. Hose me down in it. Modern day. Masvidal versus Pettis at 170? Yeah, I'll bathe in that. And yeah, I'm surprised that they never ran into each other before. That's kind of amazing. As far as Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he's out of the mix. That's it. Like, probably forever. He just turned 36. He has one win in his last 5 fights, where that draw comes into play. And it's something that we're going to talk about on Tuesday's show, but I am not of the belief that you go 5 rounds with Rory McDonald, 10 rounds with Tyron Woodley, 3 rounds with Masvidal, then 5 rounds with Darren Till, and emerge the same guy. You are not the same guy that finished Robert Whittaker, Jake Ellenberger, and Johnny Hendricks, and quite frankly, may have changed Hendricks and Ellenberger's lives as a result. I don't think this is the guy that beat those guys. I think it's a different human. Do I think it's the guy that beat Rory McDonald shortly thereafter? Yeah, maybe a little bit. He had those tendencies. That wasn't an outstanding fight or anything. He can be that fighter that sits on the outside and chips away. I don't think he can be that fighter that is aggressive and goes in there and has amazing fights. And to be honest with you, if I'm the UFC, I don't headline a show with Wonderboy Thompson anymore. The guy is nice. He's wonderful. I love having him on Fightful. He's a great interview. 1 win in his last 5 fights. Hasn't finished anybody in 3 years. Can't do it, man. Leave us a thumbs up, guys. Subscribe. FightfulMMA.com. We have stories all day long. We have reactions to a lot of tonight's fights. But on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, that's the weekly Fightful MMA podcast. Join us, myself, Showdown Joe. There will probably not be a show next week, not this upcoming week, next week, because it's WrestleMania week. There's no MMA event to cover. If there's some major news, we will, but give us a like. Share our stories. We're on Twitter at Fightful MMA. We're on Facebook at Fightful Online. If you all could retweet any of our stories, that would be of great service to us. But most importantly, guys, thumbs up, subscribe. We out.